In the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine, we're used to seeing massive explosions, cities under fire, and strikes that dominate headlines. But sometimes, what truly matters isn't the biggest blast. It's the one that looks almost insignificant. Like this footage. A single point, in the middle of an open field, no buildings, no crowds. And then, a precise explosion. At first glance, nothing extraordinary. But from a military analysis perspective, this is where things get interesting. Because this isn't about overwhelming force, this is about precision. And in modern warfare, precision is often far more decisive than raw power. The footage is reportedly from Zaporizhzhia Oblast, specifically an area referred to as Rovnoe. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than farmland. Open terrain, thin tree lines cutting across the landscape, no major infrastructure in sight. But in modern warfare, this kind of terrain is far from irrelevant. In fact, it offers something critical: room to maneuver and space to conceal. And that's where the real game begins. Those tree lines you see, they're not just natural boundaries. From a tactical standpoint, they serve as natural cover, ideal for concealing vehicles, deploying defensive systems, or establishing firing positions. Military units often use areas like this to dig trenches, store equipment, and move without being easily detected from above. Because in open terrain, anything clearly visible becomes a target. So the safest option is to remain hidden in places that appear unremarkable. But that's exactly why these areas are also targeted. The footage references the use of a FAB-500 bomb. This is not a new weapon. It's a legacy system, dating back to the Soviet era. But in modern usage, its role has evolved. With the addition of guidance kits, this bomb can now glide toward its target, no longer just a free-fall munition. This means aircraft can operate from safer distances, avoid deeper penetration into contested airspace, and still deliver effective strikes. That's where its value lies. Less expensive than advanced precision missiles, yet highly effective against static targets. And in large-scale warfare, efficiency like this matters. Now let's focus on the strike itself. A single detonation, no barrage, no widespread impact. That tells us something important. This was not an area strike. It was targeted, most likely aimed at an air defense position, a concealed unit, or a forward coordination point. The fact that it hits near a tree line is not random. That's exactly where you would expect a concealed position. And if this was indeed an air defense asset, then the implications extend beyond the ground. It potentially affects control of the airspace. From this pattern, we can observe a shift in approach. Russia appears to be moving beyond sheer volume and focusing more on efficiency, using drones for reconnaissance, identifying targets, and executing precise strikes. This reflects integration between intelligence, technology, and firepower. And objectively speaking, this approach can be highly effective. Because in prolonged conflict, the advantage often goes to the side that adapts faster. From the perspective of Ukraine, this raises important questions. How was this position detected? Possible explanations include successful aerial reconnaissance, visible movement patterns, or remaining too long in a fixed position. In modern warfare, static positions carry significant risk. Technology now enables faster detection, faster response, and more precise engagement. Once a position is identified, time becomes the critical factor. At the same time, we need to remain critical. This footage originates from pro-Russian sources, which means the narrative may be shaped. The strike itself may be real, but the reported impact could be exaggerated, or specific unit claims may not be fully accurate. In modern conflict, information is part of the battlefield, Every piece of footage serves not only as documentation, but also as messaging. And as viewers, we need to separate fact from framing. Zaporizhzhia Oblast remains a strategically significant region. It represents logistical pathways, frontline pressure zones, and operational access points. Strikes like this, even when small in scale, are part of a broader strategy, gradually weakening the opponent, step by step, until the balance begins to shift. So, what are we really looking at? Not just a single explosion, but a glimpse into how modern warfare operates. Quiet, calculated, and deeply reliant on information. Now here's the question for you. In conflicts like this, is advantage determined by technology or by how that technology is used? Is this a sign of growing tactical effectiveness or simply one moment in a much longer cycle? Share your perspective in the comments, because different viewpoints help build a more complete understanding. If you value this kind of in-depth analysis, consider supporting the channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing, so we can continue exploring global conflicts with clarity, depth, and balance. And finally, a quick note. This analysis is based on open-source information and is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It does not support any side and does not justify violence in any form. Because beyond strategy and tactics, there is always a human cost that should never be overlooked.